Hi boys and girls, I hope everyone's having a fabulous March break. I'm Sammy and today we're making Among Us stuffies. How adorable is this little crewmate? Alright, so hopefully everyone's been in to get their kits, and inside you should find a sock, a small piece of a white sock that I cut out for you, and a needle. Yours would be stuck into a piece of felt to make it a little safer, some thread, and some stuffing. All right. And then for your products from home, you're gonna need a pair of scissors and a marker. I'm using a Sharpie, that works best, but if you have any kind of marker that will show up on the color of sock that you have, that's good. All right, are you ready to get started? All right, I'm gonna show you your first step. Okay, so take your sock. We're gonna start by turning it inside out, just like that, and then kind of straighten it up so that you have it looking like that. You have your heel flap kind of down there, and we are going to cut it. Take your scissors and cut it just right above the heel. You want good scissors for this, and if my younger friends, you might need mom or dad's help with this, or grown up to help you with it if it's tricky. Watch your fingers. There. So now's the time when you're going to need the marker. So we're going to take the marker and we're just going to lightly sketch out some crewmate looking legs. It doesn't have to be perfect. So see? There's just one leg and another leg. Alright, and now we're going to need the needle and the thread. So you're going to want a good length of thread so that way you don't run out. Trim that up. And if you need help with your needle, with threading it, you can ask a grown-up. I tried to use bigger needles so that'd be a little easier for you guys. Alright, so just pull it through a bit so it doesn't come through the needle on the other end. And if you haven't had much experience with sewing, you might want to get a grown-up to help you with this part. So I'm just going to start by going up and in. Now this is going to be the inside, so it's okay if there's some strings hanging down if it's not looking completely neat, because we are going to turn it inside out, or right side out. This is inside out. Alright, so I put the needle through like that, and then I'm just holding it there on the back, and I'm going to go down, staying along the line of the legs. Go down just a little bit. Pull it in. Then I'm going to go up right around the spot where I went down at. Pull it through, and then I'm going to go backwards a stitch. About a half a stitch length. And now we're going to go up again. Forwards. And then back up. And backwards half a stitch. And it doesn't have to be perfect as long as you hold on to your string on the back and you keep your stitches even and fairly close together, so that way you don't have gaps when we turn it over when we stuff it. Alright, so I'm gonna get sewing and you guys do your sewing, and then I'll see you back here in a bit for the next step. little bit of a knot there, but that's okay because it's going to be on the inside. No one's going to see that. So now to finish it off, once you get to the other end, just kind of wrap it around a couple times. See, I'm stitching around the edge. And then I'm going to kind of go back and forth. So up one side and the other. Do that a couple times. And then stick the needle through the loop of the thread and pull it through. This kind of helps it do a little knot so that way it doesn't come unstitched. And again. All right. Pull it tight, and then we're going to give it a snip. And if you have thread left in your needle, just leave it threaded because we will use this again for stitching on the face shield. So I'm just going to set that aside for a minute. All right, so now we're going to take and just make sure you're only cutting through one layer of the sock. You don't want to cut through the back, just in the front. You're gonna take your scissors and make a really small hole. Like, do not make it big because this material is super stretchy. See? There's the hole. And then use your scissors to, you're gonna wanna be able to try to see your stitches. So I'm gonna do it through the side where I have my line drawn at. And just kind of cut up just a little bit between where you drew the legs. So that way they're separate legs now. All right, so it should look like this. And now we're going to take the hole where we cut. That's where we're going to turn it right side out. So flip it through and you can just kind of wiggle it around to try to get the legs popped back out the right way. Stick your finger down there to kind of push it through if it's getting bunched up. One leg and the other. Oh, these guys are going to be so cute when they're done. They're so soft. All right, so they should look something like this right now. So now we need to take some of our stuffing. So we're going to take a bit and we're just going to go in through the hole that we cut and push down into the legs and get them so they're fairly filled. Nice and squishy. Take some more. Stuff it into the other leg. That guy needs a little bit more. Alright, so now we're going to take a larger chunk of stuffing and fill his body and head. Alright. So you want to make sure that you are leaving enough stuffing because we're going to have a little bit extra so that the face plate bunches out a little bit. And then also for the backpack. We're going to be using the rest of the sock, the other part of the sock for the backpack as well. Alright, so stuff it so it's nice and squishy. Add just a little bit more. Oh, we got a wire in there. Alright, so now he should look like this. Okay, so for the face shield, you're going to have your piece of white sock and your needle and thread, and you're going to go up through it, and then you're going to do what's called a running stitch. So pull it through, leave a little bit dangling there so it doesn't come all the way through, and then you're just going to go right through. So you're going right from the front right through back to the front again. So just do that all the way around the edge, and I'll do a few stitches to show you. So it's just down and then right back up to another stitch. So it's going right through the back and up to the front again. All right, so let's do that. We'll get it stitched all the way around until we get back to where we started. Alright, so now that we've made it all the way around, we're just going to kind of give it a little tug a little bit. So, see, it kind of makes it into a little pocket, kind of tightens it up a little bit. And now that we have a little pocket, we're going to take some more stuffing and put that in there. Tighten up a little bit more. I'm pulling on the other end too. Tighten that end down. I'm going to put a little more stuffing in there. Tighten it back up again. And now with your needle and thread that's still attached to it, we're just going to go from the top to the bottom, do a couple zigzags back and forth to kind of close it up a bit. So stuffing gets in the way. This is a bit tricky. My needle's about to come unthreaded again, so pull that back through. Alright. Now I am not a professional at all, so you guys might even do a better job at this than I do if you've had more experience sewing. Alright, so back and forth. I'm going to go back through this side. Oh, and my needle came unthreaded again, silly thing. Okay. And get that threaded back on again. And we're getting pretty close to being done, guys. I hope yours is coming along really nicely, and I hope that so many of my friends will post some pictures in the comments of their finished Among Us characters, your crewmates. And this is really simple to be able to do if you want to do it with your friends. You can find the socks. Sometimes you can find them at Dollarama, and you can get stuffing at Walmart. So you guys could even do more of these. And I saw on a video someone who did these, and then they had other socks in different colors, and they cut pieces off and they made different hats for their Among Us crewmates. I think they were doing a Halloween themed hat. So I thought that was kind of neat. Alright, so now that you have that, you've done a couple little zigzags back and forth. We're going to place it over the hole that's in our stuffy, like this, and then we're gonna go kind of get the edges in there good so it's not too messy looking. And you can take your needle and thread and go through the stuffy itself, the main color sock, and up through the faceplate. So this is why we need to start with a pretty long piece of thread, because it's pretty handy to just use the one piece without having to cut and rejoin and everything. Alright. And see, even though I'm using black thread, you can't even really see it that very much because of the fluffy material. It sinks right in. Kind of hides itself. So any of my friends who don't have matching color thread, it should be okay because it's going to blend right in with your socks. Alright, so we're just going to continue sewing all around the outside, and then I'll tell you how to do his backpack. And so I'm gonna just kind of go in and out a few times to get it knotted well. You can do the same thing we did in the other spot and kind of bring the needle through the thread. Whoops, and then my needle unthreaded again. Oh no. Oh. There. That wasn't too bad. My thread is getting pretty short, but I should have enough now to finish it off. Up. And through one more time. Can we do it? Alright, now I'm just going to stick the needle all the way through, right front to back, so it pulls the leftover thread right inside. Now I'm just going to clean my guy up a little bit. He's got a little bit frayed on his edge there, so if you have anything like that, you can kind of tidy it up a bit. There, he's a little fuzzy. Alright, so the top part of the sock that we cut off, you're going to need that now. This is what we're going to use for the backpack. Okay, so you're going to cut off the top part of the sock. So then it's like this. It's perfect shape and size for the backpack. So we're going to turn it inside out. Mine you can't really tell because these ones are fuzzy. Not everyone's socks are fuzzy like that. We're going to turn it inside out and then just start stitching along the bottom. So we're going to stitch all the way across the bottom to sew that closed, and then we're going to cut our thread and stitch almost all the way across the top, but you're going to leave a gap so we can turn it right side out and we have room for stuffing it. Alright, so we'll sew across the bottom first, just going back and forth. Finish this part off the same way we finished off the other parts. Just going back and forth, looping it around a bit, and having your needle become unthreaded again. Oh my goodness. I'm very thankful that this has been fairly easy to rethread so far. And watch, I'll jinx myself. Ah, did it. Alright. So we're just going to kind of go around and go through the thread. Do that a couple times. Get off of there. Alright, pull it tight, give it a little snip. And then we're ready to sew the top. Remember, we're not going to sew all the way across. We're going to leave a little gap at the end so we can turn it right side out and have room to stuff it. So just like you did with the bottom part. Okie dokie, so that should be stitched across well enough. Let's see. Alright, we're going to turn it, stick it so it's right side out again, flip it all over, hope that your stitches stay put. Okay, so now you've got the little opening left there. A little tighter. So we're going to get the rest of our stuffing. stuff it in there. You might need to do a little bit at a time depending on how large of an opening you left. And if your stitches come a little bit loose as you're doing this, it's okay because you can easily just pull them tight again and when we finish stitching across to close it up. There, that should just about be enough, I think. Stick it in there the rest of the way. That bottom corner is feeling a little empty. I'm going to put a little bit more in. All right, and you can kind of squish it around to get it the shape that you want it to go. There, and then take your thread and needle, and we're going to close up the hole that we left. So just go through one side to the other, just back and forth, like that. You don't, only a few stitches needed here. That. All right, so everyone's looking really well. Your stitches going okay. It's really not too hard of a project. You just need to be really careful with your needle, your scissors. I still feel a little gap there. So you want to make sure that it is closed up good because you don't want it coming unsewn or any of your stuffing coming out. Alright, so once you have the hole sewn up, then you're just going to place it on the back of your crewmate. And I'm going to go, my thread's kind of in some on the backpack, so I'm going to sew it so it's not quite right on the edge. So I'm going to go into the stuffy, and then I'm going to go back up into the backpack. And it's gonna, the needle's going to kind of pop out the other side as we get it attached. And it's still the same piece of thread that we were using to sew the backpack closed. Then I'm going to go into the backpack again, into the stuffy, and back out. Careful not to poke yourself. Again, into the stuffy, or into the backpack, and then into the stuffy, and back out again. And we're going to keep doing that until we get it all the way around. So once you've sewn all the way around, your backpack's firmly attached, then you can just do the same thing we've been doing along and just kind of go in and out in the same spot a couple times. Have your needle become unthreaded again. Oh goodness, I think I have just enough thread left on this to finish up. Now, stay in there, thread. Back and forth a couple times like this, in and out, in and out, and pull your needle through the loop of thread. After you've done that a couple times, you should be fairly firmly attached. So then just kind of Stick your needle, careful that it doesn't poke you when you stick it out the other side. You should be able to squish this down. So your needle comes out the other side, and then you pull it right through, and then your thread is right on the inside of the stuffy, and you can just trim off the excess if you have any excess. And ta-da! There is your crewmate with his backpack and his face shield. So now I have two crewmates. I made a friend for my other guy. So I can't wait. I hope you guys had so much fun with this project today. And I really look forward to seeing what you've made. I'd love it if you could post some pictures. Or even if you're coming in to borrow some books, you can even bring them in to show me. All right. Thanks a lot, guys. Have lots of fun. Enjoy the rest of your March break.